Attention passionate Cleveland, BROWNS. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Cleveland Browns' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Cleveland Browns fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Cleveland, BROWNS. Let's get to the news now, folks. If you've been paying attention to the NFL landscape lately, especially in the AFC North, you know that things are heating up in a way we haven't seen in a while. The Cleveland Browns, a franchise with a rich history and a passionate fan base, are once again at a crossroads, and the decisions they're making right now could define their future for years to come. It's not just about winning a few games or making the playoffs. It's about positioning themselves as serious contenders, especially with a roster that's talented enough to challenge for a Super Bowl. But as always, the quarterback position remains the key puzzle piece, and right now, the Browns are navigating a very interesting, and frankly, quite complex situation. It all started this offseason with a surprising trade that caught many off guard. The Browns sent Dorian Thompson-Robinson, a young, promising quarterback, in exchange for Kenny Pickett, the Steelers' first-round pick from a couple of seasons ago. At first glance, many fans thought, well, it's just a swap of backups, right? Nothing too extraordinary. But as the weeks went by, it became clear that things were a lot more nuanced. The NFL quarterback market, as we all know, can be a tricky beast. It's a tight race, and options are limited. The Browns, despite making that trade, weren't exactly sitting still. They brought back Joe Flacco, a familiar face and a fan favorite, to add some veteran presence behind the young guns. But let's be honest here, bringing Flacco back at this stage of his career, at a cost of around $4 million, was more about insurance than about a guaranteed starting role. Flacco, a guy who's been around the league and had some memorable moments in the playoffs, especially with the Ravens, is a known quantity. But it's also clear that he's no longer the same player he was in his prime. Still, his leadership and experience are invaluable, especially for a team trying to develop young quarterbacks. However, that's where the story gets really interesting. The Browns' coaching staff and management were obviously high on Kenny Pickett's upside even before the season started. They see potential in him, and in their eyes, he's the future at quarterback. That's why, despite the familiarity and leadership Flacco offers, they drafted Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders in the 2025 NFL Draft. These two young guns are raw, talented, and eager to make a mark. Gabriel, a speedy and intelligent quarterback out of Oklahoma, and Sanders, a dynamic, arm-talented rookie with a lot of buzz coming out of college, are both competing for the starting role. Now, what makes this whole situation even more intriguing is the ongoing competition at quarterback. When the Browns signed Flacco in April, the assumption was that he would be in a head-to-head battle with Kenny Pickett for the starting job, especially considering Deshaun Watson's injury at the time. But as training camp and the preseason unfolded, that battle has evolved into something much more competitive, a four-way contest, in fact. So, it's not just Flacco versus Pickett anymore. Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders have entered the picture, shaking things up in a big way. This kind of scenario is not unusual in the NFL, especially with a team that's trying to find its identity and develop a franchise quarterback. But it does create a very interesting dilemma for the Browns' front office. Do you stick with the veteran, Flacco, who knows the system and can provide stability in the short term? Or do you give the young guns a shot, especially since both Gabriel and Sanders are showing flashes of potential that could pay off big time down the road? And let's not forget, the Browns have 2 first-round picks in the 2026 draft, which is loaded with quarterbacks. That's a clear sign they're not necessarily committed to the current roster being their long-term solution at the position. This means the Browns might be using this season as a sort of proving ground. They want to see which of these quarterbacks can rise to the occasion and be the future of Cleveland's offense. It's a smart move when you think about it, developing talent internally while also keeping the door open for future upgrades. Flacco, despite his experience, might be the odd man out if the team finds one of the younger quarterbacks shows enough promise. The NFL is a brutal league, and if a player doesn't show immediate growth, teams tend to move on quickly. That's the reality. But let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Cleveland historically has been a team that goes through cycles of hope and disappointment. But right now, they're trying to reverse that narrative. The roster is talented, with a solid defense, a running game that can be among the best in the league, and an offense that, when clicking, can be explosive. The question mark has always been the quarterback position. Deshaun Watson's health and consistency are critical, but behind him, the Browns are trying to find someone they can count on long-term. Whether it's Pickett, Gabriel, Sanders, or someone else, the organization is clearly in a developmental phase, trying to find the right fit. In the recent past, Cleveland has seen some flashes of brilliance, but also periods of frustration. The 2022 season was a roller coaster, with moments where the team looked like a playoff contender and others where they stumbled. The 2023 season showed some improvement, especially on defense, but the offense still struggled at times. They've made some key additions in free agency and through the draft, but the quarterback spot remains the biggest puzzle. That's why this season's decision-making process, the competition at quarterback, is so vital. It's not just about winning a few games, it's about laying the foundation for sustained success. Now, if we look at the stats and the recent performances in training camp and preseason, the picture gets even more interesting. Flacco has shown flashes of his old self, managing the game well and showing leadership. But his arm strength and mobility aren't what they used to be, and that's a concern for a team aiming to push deep into the playoffs. Kenny Pickett, on the other hand, has been impressive with his accuracy and ability to improvise, showing that he has the potential to be a true franchise quarterback if given the opportunity. Dillon Gabriel has displayed excellent decision-making and mobility, while Sanders offers a big arm and a lot of raw talent that coaches believe can be refined. So the Browns are in a delicate balancing act. Do they go with experience and stability in Flacco, or do they gamble on youth and potential? The coaching staff has a tough decision ahead, and it's one that could determine the direction of the franchise for years to come. And don't forget, the NFL is a league where timing and momentum are everything. A quarterback's development isn't linear, and sometimes, a young guy just needs the right environment and a bit of patience to flourish. Looking ahead, the Browns are expected to continue evaluating these quarterbacks closely during training camp, preseason games, and practice sessions. The coaching staff will likely lean on the players' performances, leadership, and consistency to make that final call. And given the talent they have on defense and the solid pieces on offense, the right quarterback could make all the difference in pushing Cleveland back into serious playoff contention. The AFC North is no longer the weak division it once was. The Bengals, Ravens, and Steelers are all formidable opponents, and every win in this division counts double in the standings. From a fan's perspective, what's exciting about all this is the potential for a real quarterback competition. It's reminiscent of some of the great battles in NFL history that have pushed teams to new heights. When you have multiple talented players vying for the same spot, it raises everyone's game. The energy in Berea, the Browns' training facility, must be electric right now, with players pushing each other to be their best. The coaching staff is surely having sleepless nights trying to weigh the pros and cons of each option, but that's what makes this season so unpredictable and fascinating. And let's not forget about the long-term vision. Cleveland has shown patience in the past, but they're also not afraid to make bold moves if it means winning now or securing that franchise quarterback of the future. The upcoming draft in 2026 could be a game-changer, especially with so many talented quarterbacks expected to enter the league. If one of these young Browns quarterbacks can develop rapidly and prove they're the real deal, it could save the franchise millions and set them up for sustained success. But if not, they might look to the draft or even free agency to fill that critical gap. In conclusion, the Browns are at a pivotal moment. The decisions they make this season regarding their quarterback room will ripple through their franchise's future. It's a story of hope, patience, competition, and strategic planning. Fans should stay tuned because this drama is far from over. The Browns are building something special, and with the right quarterback leading the way, they could finally turn the page into a new chapter of success and glory. So keep your eyes peeled, stay engaged, and get ready for an exciting ride ahead. Cleveland Browns fans, this is what we've been waiting for, a season filled with hope, competition, and the chance to see our team rise again. The journey is just beginning, and it's going to be one hell of a ride. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUB algorithm to keep recommending the latest Cleveland Browns news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, Cleveland Browns fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this quarterback situation? Do you believe Flacco can still lead this team to the playoffs? Or are you already sold on one of the young guns like Gabriel or Sanders? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Browns. Remember, this team is built on passionate fans like you, and your voice is what makes this community special. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Cleveland Browns news. We're on this journey together, and I couldn't be more excited about what the future holds for Cleveland. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Browns.